All right. Philip here from Toon Tactics TV, giving you my pre-match analysis, my pre-match preview of the Everton versus Newcastle United game, which is going to be this Thursday, 7th of December at Goodison Park. Now, before we go into the tactics, before we go into the lineup, just want to speak a little bit on the context of the game and to kind of get a feel for the emotion, for the psychology, for the mentality of the game itself. Now, we know that Everton obviously feel a great sense of injustice on the back of receiving a 10-point deduction from the Premier League. And that hasn't deterred them, that hasn't made them wane, that in fact has angered them, that has motivated them to not only stay up in the Premier League, but to even progress up the table. And I saw that when I watched them play against Nottingham Forest as well, how they played for the badge. So they've going into this game, there's going to be a lot of tension, a lot of drama, a lot of emotion from the crowds for Everton as well. And also the other factor is Anthony Gordon, the former Everton player, former academy graduate, uh, makes his first return to Everton since leaving the club last year, January. So it's been exactly a year. Obviously, he left under a dark cloud. There is a belief that he uh, um, uh, stopped training, refused to play, essentially down tools, and left Everton, who were fighting relegation at the time. He left Everton in the lurch. And so when he comes into the Goodison Park, he's one of our Newcastle United's main players right now. There's going to be a lot of tension. There's going to be a lot of um, attention and tension towards him from the Everton crowd. So he's going to have to deal with it from a psychological and mental point of view as well. So there's a lot riding into this game. Newcastle United obviously have been fighting with injuries, Nick Pope being the latest, but have been doing really well and are really trying to set themselves up to qualify for the Champions League. So there's a lot riding into this game, a lot of context, that's the context in terms of the mentality, the emotions, the psychology going into this game. So it's promising to be a real drama. Now, going into the lineups themselves, I understand that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is likely to return. I think Beto has been injured, but could come back at the same time. But I believe this will be the best lineup for Everton. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin, I'm a fan of Calvert-Lewin as a striker. If it wasn't for his injuries, I think he'll be ranked as really up there as one of the top strikers in the Premier League. Intelligent movement, big, strong, great first touch, link-up player. He could still do it. He's still relatively young, but as long as injuries don't hold him back, really good player. The core rate is, and obviously Calvert-Lewin scored 4 goals this season as well, which is really good. The core rate has also been really effective with 3 goals this season, just like Calvert-Lewin, big, strong, good touch, good player, has been really, really good for Everton, especially going forward. And either side of them, Dwight McNeil and Jack Harrison. Jack Harrison obviously is very industrious winger, very workmanlike, but Dwight McNeil's got an assist. He scored also in the Nottingham Forest game, and when they won 1-0, scored a really, really, really good goal, and he's been playing really well for them. James Garner just behind them. He also impressed in that game, really good in terms of getting onto the second touch on the ball, controlled the game with his passing. Then had a really good game. Idrissa Gueye obviously is in that midfield dynamo for them, that defensive midfielder, that destroyer for them, works hard as always. And just behind them is the defense. So obviously Branthwaite, who obviously rumors are that Newcastle have been looking at him, and you can see why. He's 20, 21 years old, 6'4", 6'5", can play with both feet. Really, really impressive. He's surrounded by an abundance of experience with James Tarkowski and Ashley Young. who is going to be supporting him, and obviously Mikalenko on the left. And they've got England's number one goalkeeper at this time. That is Jordan Pickford himself. He'll be playing. So this is a really, really good team. Now, typically I say that the table doesn't lie, but in Everton's case, obviously it does with the 10-point deductions. They're currently in the relegation zone, but they are really, and the metrics show it, they're more of a top half Premier League team. FOTMobs rate them at 6.94 in terms of their overall performance so far this season. That puts them at ninth. And they concede very little goals, about 1.4 per game, 1.4 goals per game, which puts them at eighth. So they've really got good statistics in that regard. They've got 3 clean sheets, which puts them at eighth again in the Premier League. So they're doing really, really well, and should really be considered a top half Premier League team. Where they do struggle is in and around, obviously, goal scoring. So they're very low in terms of goals they actually score in per game, which is about 1.1, which puts them at 17th. That is relegation form or close to. And average possession, which is per game, which is about 40.4%, which puts them at 18th again. So which, when going into the tactics, it shows that Everton do prefer the opposition to have the ball, whilst they remain tight, they remain compact, and then try to obviously take advantage of getting onto the ball, any kind of loose balls, and counter-attacking their opposition. And so Newcastle, obviously, who will have to be very, very conscious and very, very aware of that. And they will be. We hold better possession, and it's likely to be in this game that we'll have the better possession. We'll have to be very, very quick and adept in how we move the ball across the field as we try to break Everton's play down from right to left, left to right. How we move that ball around and try and get in amongst the try and form triangles on their wings. Gordon, Joe Linton, Isak will be dropping in as well, and Livramento against Harrison, Garner, and Young, trying to upset that uppercut and try and do the overlaps on that side before the Corey and Tarkowski can react. And obviously on the other side, Bruno will be pushing up to help with those triangles. On the other side also with Almiron and Miley. And against McNeil, Gay, and Mikalenko, that's going to be really crucial. So we have to be clinical. So when we move the ball across, we have to be clinical in our final balls and clinical in our finishing. That's going to be very, very key for Newcastle going forward. We will have the possession of the ball. We have to move it around under the pressure and intense atmosphere. It's important that we take that edge from the game. We take the motivation from the crowd by being really good with our possession play. Obviously, I've gone into it, but our lineup chooses itself with the major injuries that we've got, including Nick Pope. He's on this here, but we know that he's injured, and it's Martin Dubravka who'll be in between the sticks. He's a very capable number 2, probably one of the best number 2s in the Premier League in terms of goalkeeping wise. Really good to have him. Obviously, as you can see, the lineup chooses itself. Now, I do back us. I think Isak. I would prefer Isak. Even if Callum Wilson was fit, because I think Tarkowski and especially Tarkowski prefers to have a number 9 in the mold of Callum Wilson that he can hold on to, whereas Isak drops in and runs up, just like runs the lines and things like that. All the things that someone like Tarkowski would hate. Gordon against Ashley Young, I back Gordon to win that as well. So as long as Newcastle remain disciplined, remain structured in their play, they have every chance to win this game and remain clinical in their final ball and in their finishing. I back Newcastle to win this game, and also to limit Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the Corey, and McNeil, who are their chief goal contributors in the Everton side, to limit them. I back Lascelles against Calvert-Lewin, especially he's been playing against Mbappe, so I back him to in that fight as well. So I've given my score prediction as So I give my score prediction as 3-0 to Newcastle United. Based on all of that, I believe that we will be disciplined, we'll be clinical in this game. I back Newcastle to win 3-0. Let me know what you guys think. Everton fans, Newcastle fans, Premier League fans, let me know, football fans, let me know what you think. Share your comments, send in your comments, like, subscribe. And until next time, guys, take care and God bless.